of the North Island Club. On January 24, 2017, notice was mailed to all club members eligible to vote that the annual meeting of the members was scheduled for 3:30 p.m. on February 21st, so it's today, and we're in business. I'd like to take the time to introduce Ms. Lori Murdoch, Assistant General Manager and Controller of the North Island Club. Lori is a quorum president.
A quorum is present by proxy and by those present at the meeting.
Thank you, Lori, and thanks to all of your members who have voted either in person or by proxy. The 2017 North Island Annual Meeting is now in session. Let me do a couple of introductions. Our Vice President is Marcia Gesser. Stand up. Don't be patient. Marcia also serves as co-chair of Falcon Greens Committee and a member of the Joint Marketing Committee. Mike Sullivan. Mike is treasurer, co-chair of the Joint Finance Committee and co-chair of the Membership Committee. Ken O'Brien. Ken is secretary and co-chair of both Joint Communications and Long Range Planning Committees. Dave Dolan. Dave serves as chair of the Sports and Rec Committee as well as co-chair of the Joint Personnel and Rules. Dave Neal, co-chair of our Membership Committee. Keith Asprey. Keith serves as both co-chair of Health and Greens Committee and a member of Long Range Planning and the Sports and Rec Committee. Mark Shimsky, co-chair of the Joint Marketing Committee and co-chair of our House and Social Committee. And last but not least, Al Sears, co-chair of our House and Social Committee. Please give them a round of applause. I would especially like to thank the other board members leaving the board this year. Dave Neal, who stepped in to fill a vacancy for the last year and a half and spent time both as co-chair of Health and Greens a year ago and of membership this year, and we're very thankful to have his expertise. And Dave Dolan, who has served for 3 years and did an excellent job on Sports and Rec. We do have a new pool that Dave had something to do with, and also on personnel and rules, so thank you both. We'd like to start with ratification of the minutes from the February 16, 2016 meeting. In the interest of time, I'm going to dispense with the reading of last year's annual meeting minutes. A copy was included in your package. May I have a motion to ratify the minutes from the annual meeting of the North Island Club held on February 16, 2016?
I make a motion to ratify the minutes of the annual meeting of the North Island Club held on February 16, 2016.
I second the motion.
Okay. Unless there's further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Good. The ayes have it, the minutes are approved. I'd now like to recognize the chair of this year's Joint Nominating Committee, Bill Weber.
Thank you, John. As I stated in the DIOA meeting, the nominating committee was a joint DIOA and DIC committee. The same great folks that identified the DIOA candidates worked with me to identify the outstanding slate of DIC candidates, and you recognized them a few minutes ago and thanked them for their efforts. In 2017, there are 3 vacancies on the DIC board. In accordance with the club's bylaws, there were 5 candidates nominated to fill those 3 positions. They are Ted Barber, Patrick Carberry, David Elmore, Bill Krebs, and Claudia Peebles. Thank you, candidates, for being willing to come forth and serve your club. Again, there should be no losers in these elections. Please encourage whoever is not elected today to stay involved in the club's leadership and consider running again in the future. I hereby move the adoption of the following resolution. Resolved, that the 3 candidates receiving the highest number of votes be elected as directors of the North Island Club for a term of 3 years until their successors are elected as specified by DIC bylaw section 6-2-3. But I stole your script, sorry.
As this is a requirement of the DIC bylaws, it requires no vote today. Thank you, Bill. Let me join in expressing my thanks to all the people who participated both in the nominating process and to the candidates who stepped forward. In addition, there's a proposed bylaw change that was to be voted on as part of this meeting. In 2016, the Board of Directors determined that Article 6, Section 1.2 was vague and the wording needed to be revised to make it clear. I have a motion to approve the amendment to Article 6, Section 1.2 of the Delta Island Club bylaws.
Resolved that the amendment to Article 6, Section 1.2 of the Delta Island Club bylaws as adopted by the Board of Directors be approved.
I second the motion.
Okay. If you did not yet vote by proxy or in person for either the candidates or the bylaw change, please raise your hand and we'll get you a ballot at this point in time. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Let me just spend a couple of minutes. I'll try to keep this brief. Just wanted to recognize the three people leaving the board and let you know who's coming back. This is our new senior class, Marcia Cannon, Keith, Marge, and Mike, and three people to be named based on your votes. I would be remiss if I didn't show some data, and I told Ted he had a lot of data there. I took a look, going back at when our residents joined the club. And I was a little surprised, although I should have been, that 27% of our members today have joined since 2013. And I should have known that because I see people who go, who was it? I thought I knew a lot of people a few years ago, and there are a lot of new people and a lot of new faces. And it struck me in looking at this, and you'll see that, let's come back. You see 2009 to 2012, Ted already touched on that. It was not a good time for either the economy or the real estate market. And so we would have expected a lot more activity, a lot more people to have joined the club in that period of time. But we can't fight City Hall. And you see the rest of it, we have members going back to pre-1988. So there are a lot of people that have been here a long time and a lot of people that have joined. And I think it would be remiss, since there's been a lot of history, that I didn't spend a couple of minutes trying to educate people on how things have changed, the challenges we've faced, and how we've survived and thrived if you look at the results over the last couple of years. I sort of sum things up. We're adaptable, we're resilient, we're committed to maintaining and enhancing our amenities, we're financially strong, we have a terrific management team and supporting staff, and we have an involved and committed membership. In terms of adaptable, in 1996 our developer said to the residents, the club and the Owners Association is yours. Thanks. The boards in 2001 approved a covenant change called One Island. In 2005, they approved an initiative called Green Space. Our membership plans changed in both 2008, most recently in 2013, and our initiation fee, which used to be refundable, became non-refundable in 2010, all in trying to adapt to the conditions that we saw that would help the club to survive going forward. Resilient. Sometime in the 2005 to 2007 period, Alcoa said, I'm out of here, see ya. They also took a significant subsidy that they were providing to finance the club with them. That resulted in a lawsuit with Alcoa, and also several member lawsuits erupted. And if you think justice grinds slowly, one of those took from 2007 to 2015 to settle. So we're resilient. We survived the 2008-2012 economic conditions, real estate conditions. Not every club did that. And I don't have to mention Hurricane Matthew. It was terrific to see some of our new people who were moving into the island, either slightly before or slightly after the storm, and their attitude was very positive. This wasn't always here. I know it may come as a surprise. And I thought I'd talk about some of the history that some of you may not appreciate. This is actually a picture of the community center going up. The community center and Carolina room were approved in 2001 and were constructed between 2001 and 2003. This is a picture of the community center without Kevin Innes. You may not see pictures like this very often. And Kevin, I talked about you coming out of the mud. Coming out of the mud shortly thereafter. Again, here at the community center, a little more under development. Carolina room where we are today. Basement. Golf course renovation and irrigation, a big project, 2011 to 2012. Our pub and dining renovation, 2012. Looks a little different today. We redid the TABBY room and clubhouse renovation in 2013. Carolina parking and lighting renovation, also some tree removal because the trees kept breaking up the parking lot. Pool renovation, I'm almost getting to current history here. And a kitchen renovation. Thank you, Chef Matt. And we're in the second year, 2017, we've got some more money dedicated to improving our kitchen and letting our staff meet the expectations that the members have. Again, all this really illustrates the support that we've gotten from our membership to improve our facilities, to maintain our facilities, which is critical going forward. Financially strong. We have a plan in place to eliminate use of the Alcoa settlement funds by 2020, and there will still be funds available for emergencies. What kind of emergencies, you might ask? Hurricane Matthew. Ted will probably touch on how much was spent by the club, which you saw the $500,000 that the Owners Association did was only a piece of what it took to get this island back in shape. So we used settlement funds for that, avoiding any assessment for our members. We're starting 2017 with $1.9 million of settlement funds available, and we're starting 2017 with $2.2 million of capital reserves available because we continue to have to spend money to maintain what we have today. Looking ahead, the build-out of the island and the attrition of people who were here before 2001 and chose not to join the club are going to help further strengthen the club. We're slowly reducing the number of non-member residents being replaced by members, and the new building, including the spec homes by Logan, is resulting in increased membership. Strong management team and supporting staff, and I include everybody who works here. I don't know how many people were not involved in the hurricane cleanup, but there are a lot more people involved than not involved. And I'd like to say that the day-to-day activities of this club take a concerted effort under the direction of all our supervisors, but there's a lot going on, and thankfully the board doesn't have to worry about the work being done. It's our staff and our management that takes care of that for us. Involved in committed membership. Some of us volunteered for the board, some volunteered for committees of the board, some are involved on other activities on the island. And all of that contributes to a healthy island environment. And I want to thank you for that. But more importantly, there are a lot of people on this island that are involved in the broader community, activities in the broader community. And that too is critical. We're here not just for the island. This is a bigger community, and we need to see the institutions and activities in the broader community supported as well. And I know a lot of you are involved in that as well. Looking ahead, again, the lessons that I got out of our history is we've been adaptable, we've been resilient, we've been committed to maintaining and enhancing our amenities, being financially strong, supporting a strong management team, and having an involved membership. And I think those are all things that we need to keep in mind as we move forward. On the horizon, there will be a proposal forthcoming to redo the golf cart test, an issue that's been hanging around since 2008. We'll be looking, as a result of the recent amenity study, at both improved access to kayaking and the possible startup of bocce. We need to continue to seek new members, and marketing and membership have done terrific jobs in that regard. In particular, we're looking for people who are active in golf, tennis, croquet, while not losing sight of the needs of our longer-term members who may be less active than they once were. We need to be sure that our new members make a smooth transition to the club and other aspects of island life, and we need to continue to seek to be outstanding in all areas in which we serve our members. On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank you, our members, for your support, not only this year, but in the past, and encourage you to continue to provide the support that you've shown in the dedication to the island and the community. Thank you. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Ed Bartlett, our GM.
Got more slides. All right. Okay. Again, the purpose of this presentation is to review some of the major projects and departmental happenings in 2016 and look ahead towards 2017 and some things that we have planned for that. The mission of the club, in part, dedicated to meeting the social, dining, and recreational needs of the members by providing quality products, facilities, and services in a fiscally responsible manner. Probably the premier milestone project in 2016 was the creation of the rebuilt swimming pool, replacing the 35-year-old swimming pool that was in existence. This was a project that was well run in committee. There were 2 years, 2 years plus of research and development at the committee level, gathering all kinds of information, putting a communication plan together, creating options, surveying the members, having focus groups, town hall meetings that were excellently done. I attended some of them. I did not participate very much, but I supported where I could. And I just thought it was a really quality job up to the vote that was last February. And I don't remember exact numbers, but I believe it was nearly a 90% approval rate for that project. So very well done program. In fact, the construction of it was a little bit interesting in that the market had changed. When you take that long to plan and sell a project, the market conditions change while you're doing it. So the building community took off during that, and so our estimates were a little bit low. We expected to build a $1.6 million pool, but it turned out that we built a $1.8 million pool and really had to stretch to get that done. We really tried, working with the project team here, we really tried to only value engineer out what was not promised as a critical part of the presentation that the members bought into. We did not want to bait and switch anyone in what was done. We simply wanted to fine-tune the project and get it down to a manageable number, which we did. We went into that project with less than $20,000 contingency on $1,800,000 project and spent less than $20,000 of it. And the project completed in June, and we had a wonderful grand opening weekend. This was the ribbon cutting here with some of the principals of the project, and we had a 3-day celebration that was set up by Abby and her staff. It was fantastic. Another key addition this year, Matt, you didn't know we could get a picture of you that big, did we? We did. But we welcomed, 6 months ago, welcomed our new executive chef, Matthew Felix, to Delta after a nationwide search. A lot of interested and qualified candidates came to visit us and spoke with us, and in the end, we got our man, as they say. And when Chef Matthew agreed to come on board, we told him initially our focus, what our members are telling us in the surveys and the comment cards and just anecdotally, is that we need to focus on a few things about food and beverage operations. We've got to focus on the quality and the consistency. That has to be of paramount importance. And secondarily, the members always want variety because they come to the club all the time. They want different stuff to do and they want value when they're doing it. That's what I would want too. So this is where he sort of educated us. He said, well, in order to deliver what you want, I need a little bit better equipment and infrastructure in the kitchen. Our kitchen, we learned during that search process, had aged, and we were falling behind in terms of the equipment and the infrastructure that we provided the professionals that cook for us on a daily basis. So we made that commitment. We delivered on that commitment, I hope, in the first year, and we plan to continue to deliver on that commitment as we go forward. Getting the right kind of equipment in there that cooks properly and can produce a product that is high quality, very consistent. We also, in tune with this kitchen program, we had some dedicated server training and education, letting them know what the new standards were, what the direction was, how we wanted to greet, meet, and take care of our members. And with that under our belt, we set about introducing a lot of new ideas, mostly Chef and his team's ideas, Bill and his group. New weekly themed dining events at the pub. The attendance has been amazing. They've been very well supported, and people have been really excited with some of the new ideas. And really have turned around the image of the Tide's Edge Grill in the fourth quarter. We increased 35% in usage in the fourth quarter, and I just noticed that in December we doubled the revenues from the prior December, so just in the month of December. So things are looking up there, and we're proud to have our food and beverage team and our kitchen team under Matt Felix helping us reach our goals. In tennis, we had a number of exciting things this year. One was updating of the interior decor. We made some updates to freshen things up at the tennis center to try to reduce some of the echo sound that was problematic in that building. It was a year of heavy team play. We had 23 total teams playing tennis out of Dalton. We had 2 seasons of Special Olympics, which is this group here. Overall, we had 16 major events, which includes the Dalton Splash, some other events. Tennis also had significant hurricane damage. Several of the courts were out of play for a short period of time, and one of the courts was out of play for an extended period of time, badly damaged. But all in all, it was a successful year financially, and I say it was nearly break-even to plan. And what that means is, as per our membership model that we rolled out a few years ago, what we'd like each amenity-based department to do is to cover 75% of the expenses for that department out of the dues that they generate only by selling the packages for that sport. So and the other 25% is sort of subsidized by the general club dues line. So in order for a department to break even, their revenue from dues membership for their particular amenity has to meet 75% of their expenses. Tennis was nearly able to do that in 2016. Moving on to golf, a couple of big events. Hosted the South Carolina Open, a wonderful tournament. We plan to do it one more time this year, and then they will take the tournament elsewhere. We're proud to have it back here for a third consecutive year. Also, we hosted the Collegiate Tailor-Made Adidas tournaments. Had a big focus on rounds tracking, Ranger program. We were on pace for a record year. We expected this number here, nearly 48,000 rounds. We expected that to eclipse 50,000 for the first time. However, October came and derailed that effort. But we still ended up very similar to prior year, which this was sort of a record year here too. And I would point out that the golf department, in terms of reaching that 75% of their expenses through revenue generation by selling packages for golf, was able to do that and successfully broke even as a standalone operation. That's been a goal of ours for some time, since we rolled out the new membership model 4 years ago. Some highlights in golf maintenance. There were many new bunkers on Cotton Dyke number 3. We use a system called the Better Billy Bunker System. It's a glue and gravel combination that creates bunkers that are much less maintenance and much more consistent, easier to maintain for the staff. They're not constantly rebuilding bunkers every time the rain comes. I think last week we did a few more, so that program continues. We like that program. We're going to keep doing it a little bit at a time, taking the worst ones out first and just building on our success. We leveled some collar areas on some of the greens. As you continue to mow in a circle on a plot of grass and you constantly throw sand down in terms of top dressing and push it around to the outside, what happens is you build the collars up around the greens and basically it creates a bird bath. The bird bath creates a problem of mildew that we call black layer that we've been fighting, a moisture problem. So in order to fight the black layer, one of the first things we had to do was create escape areas for the water by reducing the collar heights to get down, to get the water off the green, to keep the moisture content in the greens at an acceptable level, and get the mildew that kills the grass off the greens. We replaced all 4 pumps at the Cotton Dyke pump house. I think that was an $80,000 capital expenditure that you all undertook. Thank you. This is what it looked like. These are 4 pump shafts up here laying on this trailer. There's a filter at the bottom of them that pushes the water up these screws here. Over time, they get clogged. We clean the filters out from time to time, I think, but over time, as they spin day in and day out, they get out of round and they start to become faulty, and so they need to be replaced. I think these had 13 years of life on them, and in order to replace them, we lifted them out of the top. They take the top of the building off. It was designed to be removed. It got stuck. It was hard to get off. It wasn't gotten off. You know, you just take them right out, and here's the 4 empty holes where the old ones came out. This is the last one coming out, or the first one going in. So that's a big project. Anything I can do to not talk about hurricane another thing, we rely 60 to 70% of the water that goes on all the golf courses, close to 200 acres of grass, I guess, are fed by an effluent plant that is reused water over on Old Palawanna Road, right off of Palawanna Road. And we had to improve our communications, how we call for water. When we call for water, we need it then, we don't need it later, we need what we ask for. So it's important that the communication is up to date and the water delivery system is functioning properly when we need it. We converted some grass on these tees on Cotton Dyke to Celebration Bermuda grass, which is a Bermuda grass that should perform better on those tees and give a better product there. And finally, we welcomed Chris Noonan as the Oregon River Superintendent. We're happy to have Chris on board. Finally, I couldn't get through the golf maintenance slide without saying that we removed hundreds of trees, hundreds of stumps. The sinkholes were the biggest surprise. Having sinkholes of that magnitude that you could bury a van in and not notice it was missing. I think we spent $70,000 maybe on fixing the biggest hole, and I think there were a dozen, so it was a significant problem. Really, the volume of water really wrecked the storm drain system in certain areas on the golf course. Of course, we bush hogged all the tree debris in place. This saved you thousands, tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars for transport. You still wouldn't have the golf courses back the way you do now if we were trying to truck these trees in and out of here. But grinding them in place and leaving that stuff where it was a huge savings. And then the golf maintenance, just an effort to get things done. They cleaned up dock and marina debris all around the golf courses. They actually worked as an agent for the marina at some point. we billed them time and materials to get some of the stuff off of top dikes, and we didn't have to deal with it there. I would mention, take a little segue at this point in time, talking about debris that's around the island, everywhere you look. That we learned this morning that the Attorney General has indicated that although the state is considered the owner of the tidelands, everything out from the mean high tide mark out into the marsh, the county is responsible for debris removal. So the finger pointing seems to be over. Everything that is now in the marsh, inside of the mean high tide line, is county responsibility. And I think they learned this in the last 24 hours, and I think they're probably scrambling to see what they're going to do about it right now, but we do have an answer on that front of that question that we've been asking. In marketing, we attended 5 real estate shows where we get in front of clients in different cities around the country and try to sell the Delta lifestyle to them. Always focusing on buyers that we think will use the amenities that we have here and participate. We targeted digital advertising to try to narrowcast to the exact person we want to market to. A big project that we're doing last year and into this year is instituting a customer relationship management software program for real estate tracking so that we can track, communicate with buyers, and try to predict their behavior. We rolled out a PR campaign called Delta on the News. We launched a beautiful brand new website. We have now our own Delta listings on our own Delta website. That's been a goal. We achieved that in 2016. And as I mentioned in the DIOA presentation, we extended the joint marketing agreement to include Logan Homes as a participant in our leads program and at the sales center. A bright spot in 2016 was reaching an all-time high in membership. We now have, in all categories of membership, over 1,035. It's tremendous growth over the years. You'll see the number of resident members has also grown as we build new properties. That will continue to increase. And also the properties without a membership in the last 3 years has decreased. Some other things that I just thought worth mentioning this year, green initiatives, technology enhancements. We went paperless at the board meetings. Some of you know that board meetings generate a great deal of paper. We made a commitment early on to try it and see if we could go paperless. It pretty much worked. Now everybody has a laptop or a tablet computer. We save reams of paper. We save security a lot of time and staff a lot of time generating the tickets and packets. So we're pretty happy with that. We've also reduced the amount of paper we use with surveys by doing them digitally. We continue our quest over the last 5 years to go to energy efficient light bulbs and putting timers on lights that do not need to stay on. We initiated a security scan to try to protect our network this year from invasion. And as I mentioned, we launched a new website. Last couple of slides here. The finances. Really, I just thought I'd keep it simple. Like I said, the hurricane was the prevalent factor in the finances. The club spent just about what the Owners Association spent, so another $500,000 cleaning up. This was primarily the 3-week period before FEMA made a commitment and the county moved in. I would say that if you added the money that they spent, the county, doing the rest of the cleanup, between $500,000 for DIOA and $500,000 for DIC, that's $1 million. I would say you would put another $1 billion on top of that for what they've done. So I think all in all, it basically was a $2 million effect in the hurricane. Again, we had an insurance policy that we had split with the Owners Association that was worth $150,000. So similarly, the club fared very similarly in that just over $350,000 was the net hurricane expenses. Again, the board had a decision. I think they made the right one. They decided that they would not assess the members and they would take the money out of settlement fund. I look around the room, I might need to mention what exactly settlement funds are. Mr. Schaefer mentioned it a little bit earlier. When Alcoa left, we went to court on their exit strategy, and a little over $4 million in funds and property was negotiated between Nautaw and Alcoa as they exited the community before it was fully built out and able to stand on its own as a partly built community, but with fully built assets. So, we have relied on the settlement funds, that dwindling amount of money, to true up the bottom line every year. We set a goal 4 years ago that by 2020 we would escape from that dependency. And we're on that goal, and I'm going to show you that here. We had a very good year financially in operations. If the hurricane wouldn't have hit, we would have ended up considerably favorable to the budget, primarily due to strong membership numbers, but also expense containment. We were budgeted to spend this. Again, in the past, we'd spent $400 and something thousand in settlement funds, and we wanted to reduce our dependency over the coming years until we get to 2020 when that number will be zero. With no hurricane, we would have spent as little as $137,000, besting our plan of almost twice that much. And that, of course, is in tune with our goal of eliminating that dependence on settlement funds by 2020. So we ended up spending $394,000. We actually overspent settlement funds by $134,000. However, that saved the island or the club members from getting an assessment to cover that amount of money. So I think if you were to do a loose math equation, you could say that we outperformed the budget by a little over $200,000 in 2016. Last slide, I think, is major goals and plans for 2017. We talked about it earlier during President Schaefer's presentation. You can expect next year to see a proposal for cart paths. What are we going to do about it? You can expect this year to see communications to that effect about the options that we're considering, what we're going to be doing. We're going to keep everyone fully informed as to what the plans are, what the challenges are. We're going to have meetings. We're going to do it sort of like the pool, I would imagine, and that we'll have a lot of opportunity for research, development, input, and a coordinated effort. We want to continue indulging growth within the membership. We want to study the additional amenity options. The amenity survey just recently completed. And just like the Owners Association, we want to remain engaged, actively engaged, in studying the possibilities of an Oak Island purchase or a marina purchase and its effects on either one of those two on the club going now and into the future. So with that, I thank you.
Lori, are the results of the vote tally for the new directors and the bylaw amendment ready?
The results have been tallied, and I have the honor to announce that Ted Barber, Patrick Carberry, and Bill Krebs have been elected as directors, each to serve a 3-year term. Also, the amendment to Article 6, Section 1.2 was approved by a vote of 454 or 92.28%.
Okay, thank you. Unless there's any other business to come before the meeting, the annual meeting of the Dover Island Club can now be adjourned. May I have a motion to that effect? All in favor? Aye. I'd like to ask the candidates for both boards to come to the front of the room for a minute. And the rest of you have a great afternoon. Thank you.